What's up, everybody? Aces Beam here. Sorry, it's been a long time since I posted a full-length video. I've done some streams and shorts over the last 11 months to a year. I've just been really busy with just life and music on top of that. I've been doing a lot of music because I'm very passionate about it. And I've just been kind of caught up in life and stuff like that. But today, we're going to do our yearly NFL predictions. I'm gonna make this a separate thing. My last video was last year's NFL predictions. The Eagles won the Super Bowl. Fuck the Eagles. But um, and I included it as part of the Beamcast that will be coming back. I don't know when. I'm going to try to do make some changes for it to make it like a season 2. You know what I mean? Because it's been so long. Um, my bad. I need to try to be better about it. I'm gonna try to be. Um, but yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get into predictions. We're gonna go through um all of the teams here. We'll do it by division. So let's go ahead and select division. And I don't even fully know like my ideas on how these teams are gonna do, but we shall see. So, I guess we'll do NFC first, then AFC, and we'll just go top to bottom. So we'll start with the South. So first we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Pretty good team. They're really good. They're going to be a solid team. I feel like they're going to have a winning record more than likely. We'll see how this all shakes out. They open up their season at Atlanta. Also, by the way, I'm not going to give score predictions, even though I know that will part scores obviously is part of tiebreakers and stuff. But yeah, they open up their season at Atlanta. I think Atlanta's going to be pretty improved. I think Michael Penix Jr. is going to be pretty solid. They had a solid draft, okay offseason overall. I think Atlanta will actually win this first game. The Bucks versus the Texans. The Texans should be improved. They're healthier this year. CJ Stroud got that sophomore year out of the way. He should come back to like his rookie year form and maybe if not better. But the Bucks, for whatever reason, in week 2, the first 3 weeks, they win against the team that most people think they shouldn't. And I think it's going to be this game. They'll beat the Texans. I think they'll beat the Jets. I know Justin Fields just got hurt. I forget what it was, but I think they'll beat the Jets. I think the Jets are going to be just okay, even with Justin Fields. So they get the Eagles again, and the Buccaneers and the Eagles. The Eagles' kryptonite has been the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers have beaten them the last few times, for the most part. And honestly, I think they'll get to a nice start, and I think they'll beat the Eagles. Then they'll go on the road to the Seahawks. The Seahawks are coming off a mini bye, as this website decides to put it. A mini bye basically means they played on like Thursday, I guess. I think the Seahawks will get it. I think the Seahawks are going to be a okay team. They got Jalen Milroe. He's going to be a okay rookie. I think he'll be pretty solid in the NFL, because I thought Jalen Milroe in college, he was good, but I don't think he was great. But I think he's definitely built better for the NFL, like his type of archetype of quarterback. I think the Seahawks will win that game. The 49ers, they should be a lot healthier. They should be better. Give me the 49ers over the Bucks. Same thing with the Lions. The Lions, they did lose a lot. They lost Ben Johnson, their offensive coordinator. They lost some pieces. They did lose quite a bit. But they're still going to be a really good team. Not as good as last year, but they're still going to be a really good team. Give me the Lions over the Buccaneers. Saints over Bucks, I don't really got to think about this. I know Kellen Moore is now the head coach at the Saints, and Kellen Moore is a really good offensive mind, but give me the Bucks. I don't really take them serious. The Bucks are now on their bye week. They got their bye week coming off of that. They will play the Patriots. Patriots should be okay. I think they did their coach kind of dirty, how they handled that whole situation, just giving them 1 year. But they'll be okay. I forget the quarterback's name. He was pretty solid last year. It was fucking North Carolina quarterback. But either way, I think the Bucks will go ahead and handle this one. They're not beating the Bills. The Bills are a regular season team. They probably aren't going to do really anything in the playoffs, but they're much better than the Bucks. So give me the Bills. The Bucks going at the Rams. These are kind of like two even teams to me. They're kind of like the same type of team, just one's younger and one's older. I think this is probably going to be Matthew Stafford's last season. I think he's going to try to go out with a bang. I think they'll be pretty solid. They got Puka. They got Puka Nacua. They got Cooper Kupp, which he's kind of washed now compared to a few years ago. But you'd be lying if you didn't say he was still a solid receiver. Honestly, I think I'm going to lean the Rams with this one with the home field advantage. I think they're going to be a solid team. The Bucks should beat the Cardinals. The Bucks should beat the Saints. Then we have the Bucks versus the Falcons, number 2. Give me the Falcons. I think the Falcons are going to be a pretty solid team this year. Give me the Falcons. Then the Bucks should beat the Panthers. Not much I have to explain there. They'll beat them twice. And then the Bucks versus the Dolphins. I think I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I think the Dolphins are just okay. This gives the Bucks a 10-7 record, and honestly, that sounds about right for them. That 10 wins, 7 losses. That sounds about right for the Bucks. A overall solid team, but nothing too crazy. Let's go back into the South because stuff moves around, I guess, as I do the predictions. So we'll stay within the NFC South. Now we'll do the Falcons. Again, I do think the Falcons are going to be pretty solid. They'll be playing the Vikings. The Vikings will have, what is his name? They don't have Sam Darnold no more. He also went to the Seahawks. So if Jalen Milroe doesn't pan out, or if Sam Darnold continues his tear, then the Seahawks will still be pretty solid. He was the Michigan quarterback too. This is bad. Hold on. Let me look it up. J.J. McCarthy. That was his name. I think they're... Look, I love J.J. McCarthy. I loved everything he did for Michigan. Sorry, I'm trying to keep an eye on my cat. She's on my wires. Come here. Stay away from that. But I love J.J. McCarthy. I think he'll be a decent quarterback in the NFL. But... And this is actually a rematch between the two who played in the Natty, because Michael Penix Jr. was on Washington and lost to J.J. McCarthy. But I think Michael Penix will be the better quarterback in the NFL. I think the Falcons are going to be the better team. Give me the Falcons. Falcons should be better than the Panthers. They'll beat the Panthers. Commanders versus the Falcons. The Commanders, they're a better team. They're just flat out better. Give me the Commanders. Same thing with the Bills. Give me the Bills. This should be interesting. I think the 49ers are going to be better and healthy, but they're not going to be like they were in years past. And honestly, I think I'm going to take the Falcons in this one. Yes, it's on the road, and yes, it's the 49ers, a healthy 49ers team, and they should be better. But I just think the Falcons will pull it out. I think they'll pull that off. They should beat the Dolphins. I don't really see the Dolphins being anything too crazy this year. I feel like the Falcons will beat the Patriots. Again, the Patriots I don't think will be anything too crazy this year. Give me the Colts over the Falcons. I don't think the Colts are going to be anything crazy, but they're going to win a few games that they shouldn't. Now, I do think the Panthers aren't good, but I do think they'll win some games that they shouldn't. And I do think they'll beat the Falcons in this second matchup. Falcons will beat the Saints. Falcons will beat the Jets. I think the Falcons will get the better of the Seahawks. Pretty straightforward. Same thing with the Cardinals. Now the Rams against the Falcons. Give me the Rams. And then with their division already locked up, not too much into contention for anything higher as far as seeding wise. Like they could get like a 3 seed, but it's not going to change up too much. They'll rest their starters, and the Saints will get a win there. I have them going 11-6, and that sounds, again, pretty right. Like I think the Falcons will be anywhere from a 9-8 to 11-6, maybe 12-5 team, and we'll see what they do in the playoffs. But spoiler alert, they're the team that I have winning the NFC South. Let's go ahead and do the Panthers. Well, I do think the Panthers are not going to be good. They're not going to be great. They're going to be okay. They were improved last year, especially within that second half of the season. I think they'll continue that improvement. I think Bryce Young will continue to improve and become an actual solid NFL starter this year. I do think they'll beat the Jags, and I do think they'll beat the Cardinals. So they'll start off with 2 wins. Like we said, they'll lose to the Falcons. I think the Patriots will beat them. I do. The Patriots aren't going to be good, but they're not going to be downright horrible. I think they'll beat the Panthers. Same thing with Miami. I don't think Miami's going to be good, but I think they'll beat the Panthers. Cowboys will beat the Panthers. The Jets will beat the Panthers. Again, I don't think the Panthers are going to be good. I don't think they're going to be great. I don't necessarily think they're going to be god awful, but they're not going to be. Oh, they're going to be just okay. Like, they're still going to miss the playoffs. They're going to lose against teams they shouldn't and stuff like that. Like, if you ask me who do I think is in a better spot right now, Jets or Panthers, honestly, I'd probably lean towards the Panthers, but I think the Jets will get that win. Same thing with the Bills. I think the Panthers will pull off a win against the Packers. The Packers are a good team, but Jordan Love's got to get his Brett Favre-esque stuff out of the system before I fully buy into him. They're going to be a good team. They're going to be a good, solid team. They very well might even make the playoffs. But I think the Packers are definitely going to lose games they shouldn't, and this is going to be one of them. I think the Panthers will beat the Saints. They'll beat the Falcons that second time. They'll lose to the 49ers. I think they'll beat the Rams. I think they'll beat the Saints. Coming off their bye week. They'll have their game against the Seahawks, and I think they'll beat the Seahawks. 8-9. Like I said, a okay team. A solid team. Nothing crazy. They start off 2-0, lose, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row, win their next 3, lose, win 2 more, lose, win their next game, lose. They're going to win some games they shouldn't. They're going to win games they should. They're going to lose games they shouldn't. They're going to lose games they should. And I do think they're going to improve. They're going to be an 8-9 team, and they're going to be looking at next season where they should be pretty solid. However, if trends do continue, they should be the team that's going to have a winning record and are going to the Super Bowl. Because every time Ohio State wins the national championship, the Panthers are coming off a losing season, and J-Lo is getting divorced, the Panthers end up going to the Super Bowl. All 3 of those things happened this past year. So that technically means the Panthers should be going to the Super Bowl, but they're not on my radar. I just think it's something funny people are talking about. I don't think it's actually genuine. Panthers 8-9. That sounds about right. Maybe 7-10. They're gonna honestly. I think 8-9 is their ceiling, and I think they'll reach their ceiling. If they do any worse, it'd be 7-10 or 6-11, and I don't think they'll do much worse than that. We'll do the Saints. I like Kellen Moore as a coach. I just don't like the Saints as a team. I think the Saints are going to be pretty bad, and you'll see. I don't even think they'll beat the Cardinals. While I think the Cardinals are not great, I think the Cardinals will get them. 49ers will get them, and the Seahawks will get them. They'll just start off 0-3, 0-4. They'll beat the Giants because the Giants, they got Jackson Dart, which should be solid, but I don't think it's going to be anything crazy. I think they'll beat the Patriots. They'll win a gritty game there. They're going to lose to the Bears. The Bears are much, much improved. It's kind of crazy. They're going to lose to the Rams. I think they'll beat the Dolphins. They're going to lose to the Jets, and they'll beat the Titans. I have them going 5-12. That sounds right. 5 wins, 12 losses. They got for their perspective, they got a pretty difficult schedule, and I don't think they're going to be able to do too much. They're going to win 2 home games, 3 road games. They're going to be just all right. They're going to be all right. You know what I mean? So that's the NFC South. And the NFC South, I got the Falcons winning the division at 11-6. The Bucks coming in second at 10-7. The Panthers going 8-9, and the Saints going 5-12. Next, we got the NFC East. We're going to start off with the Commanders. The Commanders, they're coming off a great miracle season. Jaden Daniels should take another step forward. There could be a sophomore slump, but I don't think it. I really don't think that might happen. So I think the Commanders are going to be a pretty solid, underrated team in a sense. And I think they're going to stay pretty good, and they're going to be contending for the top of the division and trying to take the Eagles spot. They'll beat the Giants. I think they'll beat the Packers, and I think they'll beat the Raiders and then beat the Falcons. So they're starting a nice clean 4-0. However, they're going to lose to the Chargers. The Chargers are going to be a solid team. I like what Jim Harbaugh's doing over there, They have the talent. Chargers, they always have the talent. They just underperform. But I like what Jim Harbaugh's doing over there. I think they'll finally start performing the way they need to be. Does that mean on the level of Super Bowl contenders? No. But they're going to be a playoff team. At least in my mind. We'll see how the records hold it up. Bears versus Commanders. This is going to be a great game because the Bears have improved so much in the offseason. It's kind of insane. And then we all know what happened last year with the Jaden Daniels Hail Mary, and that's what made the Bears go from a 4-2 team and ended up finishing as a 5-12 team. So they literally won one game. Like they were a few seconds away from winning their 5th game. They ended up losing that game, being 4-3, and they would only win one game after that. Right? We know what that did to their season. Caleb Williams and the Bears are going to be looking for revenge. They're coming off a bye week. The Commanders just coming off of a loss. This is going to be a huge game on Monday Night Football. Give me the Bears. The Bears are going to get their revenge. They're going to do what they need to do, and the Commanders are going to take that L. Then they play the Cowboys. I'm a big Cowboys fan, but my Cowboys aren't going to do much this year. You'll see what I have for them. Commanders versus Chiefs. This would have been an entertaining Super Bowl. This would have been so interesting. Because, the whole rookie going to the Super Bowl thing, right? And then the dynasty, the three-peat that didn't happen but almost did, right? This is going to be such an entertaining game, yet again on Monday Night Football. Part of me wants to pick the Commanders, but I'm just not going to bet against the Chiefs in games like these. Give me the Chiefs. They'll beat the Seahawks. I think they'll beat the Lions again. Now they're going to be playing in Spain against the Dolphins, but give me the Commanders. Then they'll have a bye week and they'll be playing the Broncos. The Broncos were a playoff team last year. They're going to stay being a solid team. Give me the Broncos to upset them. Give me the Commanders to beat the Vikings. Again, the Giants. They're going to lose to the Eagles, beat my Cowboys again, and then they are probably going to be battling out for the division here. And I think the Commanders will pull off that win in the last week. And they're going to go 12-5 like they did last year. A great team. They're going to be continued to be great, and they're going to do great things. Next up, we have the defending Super Bowl champs, the defending division champs for the East. The East has never had a repeat champion since like 2006, I want to say, when the Eagles won it back-to-back or whatever it was. Can the Eagles be the team to break that streak, or are they going to keep the streak alive? They open up against the Cowboys. The Cowboys are going to lose. They get their Super Bowl rematch against the Chiefs at Arrowhead. They won the Super Bowl, but the Chiefs are winning the rematch. Eagles will beat the Rams. They're going to beat the Broncos. They're going to beat the Giants. They're going to beat the Vikings, and they're going to beat the Giants. So they're starting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're going to start 6-2. Then they have their game against the Packers. They should smack them around. I think the Packers are going to be good, not great. Like, I see the Packers being 9-8, 10-7, more than likely. Like, what are they now? 0-3 so far with the teams they've played. This is going to be huge. This is the game I wanted to see in the playoffs. Lions versus Eagles. This would have been so entertaining in the NFC Championship game. Give me the Lions. I do hate the Eagles, but I do just genuinely think the Lions will pull it out because the Eagles aren't going to go on a super, super tear like they did last year. People are ready for them. They're going to play the Cowboys. Cowboys are going to lose. They're going to play the Bears. The Bears, while much improved, won't be enough for the Eagles. It won't be enough to beat the Eagles. They'll beat the Chargers. They'll beat the Raiders, but they're going to lose to the Bills. So I do indeed have the Eagles repeating as division champs. Versus common opponents, they have a better record. I have them going 12-5. Commanders going 12-5 versus their common opponents. Eagles go 10-2. Washington goes 8-4. The Eagles get the division. They will break that curse. My Cowboys. I love my Cowboys, but this is going to be another rough season. We'll beat the Giants. there'll be that consistency, but we're not going to beat the Bears. The Bears are much improved. They're going to be a good team. We won't. We're going to lose to the Packers, but we'll beat the Jets. We'll beat the Panthers, lose to the Commanders. We're going to lose to the Broncos. I think we'll beat the Cardinals and the Raiders. Losing to the Chiefs, losing to the Lions. We're losing to the Vikings, losing to the Chargers, and beating the Giants. We're going to go 6-11. I love my Cowboys, but we just won't be good. I like Dak, but we hired in-house for a reason. What's going to happen is we're going to aim to tank, and we're going to fuck up the tank. That's what's going to happen. That's what I predict. I've had it with this team. I'm always going to support my team, always love my team, but I've had it with this team. I just want to nuke it all, full rebuild. Now we got the Giants. They're going to be, I feel like they're going to be kind of dog water. They're losing to the Chargers and the Chiefs. They're going to lose to the Broncos, so they're already doing pretty bad. I think they'll pull out a crazy win against the 49ers, but they're going to lose to the Bears. They're going to lose to the Packers. They're going to lose to the Lions, but they'll beat the Patriots. They'll beat the Vikings, and they'll beat the Raiders. So 4-13. That sounds right. I think Jackson Dart will be solid, but he's not going to be anything too crazy. 4-13 sounds right for the New York Giants. They'll be okay. Well, that's not even okay. They're just going to be absolute dog shit. Well, they'll get 4 wins. They'll beat, the Patriots and the 49ers, teams they probably shouldn't beat, and then they'll beat the Vikings and the Raiders, who I think I can say confidently that the Giants could beat those teams. Next, we have the NFC North, and first with the Lions. The Lions, which were the 1 seed last year in the NFC, can they repeat that? Will they win the division again? We shall see. They open up at the Packers. I think the Packers will get that win. Then they host the Bears. Give me the Lions. But they're going to lose to the Ravens. They'll beat the Browns, and they'll beat the Bengals, because the Bengals defense still looks like it's going to be Swiss cheese. They're going to lose to the Chiefs. They'll beat the Vikings. They'll beat Green Bay in the rematch. They'll beat the Rams again, because they just have the Rams number. They'll beat the Steelers, beat the Vikings, but they'll lose to the Bears to end the season. 12-5. Sounds about right for them. They're going to be good, but not like they were last year. Hello, kitty. She's adorable. Then we have the Bears. The Bears are much improved. I feel like they're going to be the team that's the closest to taking the Lions' throne. So let's see if they do. They're going to beat the Vikings. I think that's going to be pretty self-explanatory. They'll beat the Raiders. That's pretty self-explanatory. They're going to lose to the Ravens. And while I do think the Bengals' defense are probably going to be Swiss cheese, their offense is still going to be absolutely elite. The Bears' defense is better, but their offense won't be able to keep up. Give me the Bengals. The Bears should beat the Vikings. Give me the Steelers. I don't think the Steelers are going to be anything crazy, but Aaron Rodgers' last hurrah. He's going to try to have a good season. Mike Tomlin never has a losing record team. Give me the Steelers. I'm going to hate the Packers. I prefer the Bears to the Packers. I think the Bears are probably going to be a better team than the Packers. Give me the Packers just because it's the Packers or the Bears, and this is what the Packers do. They'll beat the Browns. They will lose to the Packers again, but they'll beat the 49ers. They'll end off at 10-7. Sounds about right to me. Honestly, that sounds pretty right. Like, the one thing I could see flipping is they could beat the Packers in one of these games. But that sounds about right. 10-7, winning record. Best season they've had since 2018. They'll be a solid team, but nothing too crazy. Then we got the Packers, a team that's going to be okay. Solid, but nothing crazy. They should beat the Browns, though. And they should. The Bengals, again, same thing. Defense, Swiss cheese. Offense, elite. Packers kind of got a similar thing going on with a worse quarterback. Slightly better defense, but worse quarterback. Give me the Bengals. They should beat the Cardinals. Give me the Steelers. This is going to be... I'm ready for this game right here, because this is Aaron Rodgers going up against his former team. But not only that, Aaron Rodgers is on the Steelers. The team Aaron Rodgers beat in the Super Bowl to win his first and only Super Bowl was the Steelers. So I'm interested for that. But give me the Steelers in that one. They should beat the Vikings. Give me the Broncos. Give me the Ravens, and then give me the Packers. So the Packers going 9-8. It feels like that type of season for them. They're going to be a good team, but they're going to be an okay team. Nothing crazy. The Vikings. You're gonna win some games, but you won't be good enough. Now the Vikings defense is pretty solid, and I think that'll be enough to slow down the offense enough for them to be able to pull out a win against the Bengals. But they're going to lose to the Steelers, and I think honestly they could. And I think honestly, I'm going to go with the Browns. Give me the Browns over the Vikings. Give me the Chargers over the Vikings. Give me the Ravens over the Vikings. Give me the Seahawks. That's their 2 wins right there. They're winning 2 games. I don't think the Vikings are going to be all that good. They'll beat the Bengals, and they'll. Who else are they beating? The Cowboys. They're going to be bad. I genuinely think they'll just be pretty bad. It's what they do. They winning season, losing season, winning season, losing season. I think it's all going to come to a head here, and they're going to win 2 games, and they're going to be absolutely, terrible. NFC West time. We got the Rams. Rams versus the Texans. Give me the Texans. Give me the Rams over the Titans. I think Cam Ward's going to be a solid quarterback, but the Titans, they still got some growing pains to go through. Give me the Rams over the Colts. Give me the 49ers over the Rams. The Ravens. Give me the Jags. I don't think the Jags are going to be crazy, but they're going to be a team that's going to win games that they shouldn't. AKA what they've been probably the last couple of years, right? Give me the Rams over the 49ers in the second game. Give me the Rams over the Seahawks. Give me the Rams over the Cardinals. Give me the Seahawks over the Rams in the second game. And give me the Rams over the Cardinals again. So 9-8. Yeah, that again sounds right for the Rams. That sounds right. Give me the 49ers. Again, 49ers should be better, should be improved, should be healthy. They'll beat the Seahawks. They'll beat the Cardinals, and they'll beat the Jaguars. They're going to start a nice, clean 6-0. Then they're going to lose 4 straight because I think the Texans will beat them. So they're going to lose to the Falcons, Texans, Giants, and Rams. That's why the Giants are going to beat them. They're going to be in a losing skid. Then they'll get back there by beating the Cardinals, the Panthers, and the Browns. Cam Ward's going to pull off a crazy upset win over the 49ers, but then the 49ers are going to beat the Colts. They're going to lose to the Bears, and they're going to beat the Seahawks. So that way they can secure their division. Going 11-6. Good, like they have been, not like they were in previous seasons. Give me the Seahawks. This is a team that I think that can be solid and can do some decent things. So for that, I think they'll beat the Steelers, they'll beat the Cardinals, they'll beat the Jags. They're gonna lose to the Texans though. They'll beat the Cardinals again. They're gonna beat the Titans. They'll lose to the Colts, however. They'll be a solid team. They're gonna be a 9-8 team. Nothing crazy, but they'll be a team that I think defies some people's expectations, which is what they normally do. They normally, the Seahawks normally, when they have lower expectations, they do better than people think. So, give me the Seahawks going 9-8. Cardinals, honestly, I think the Kyler Murray experience is done. You need to trade him to a team that needs a quarterback and get some draft capital and try to start again. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Give me the Titans over them. Give me the Colts. You should beat the Jaguars. I'll give you a win over the Texans, and you're gonna lose to the Bengals. I'm not even gonna try with that. 3-14. You'll be the second worst team in the NFC, only ahead by the Vikings. So based off of that, my NFC playoff picture will be the Lions in the 1 seed again, barely beating out the Eagles for it, and that's just because they're going to beat the Eagles. It's the head-to-head. So that's what does that for them. So it's going to be the Lions, Eagles, Falcons, 49ers, Commanders, Bears, and Buccaneers. That's going to be the playoffs. So basically it's going to be very similar to last year. Just swap out. If you basically put in you put in the Rams for the 49ers. You swap the Bucs and the Falcons, kick the Falcons out of the playoffs, put the Vikings in the playoffs, and put the Packers in the playoffs. So actually, some changes there. Now we got the AFC to do. We got the AFC West. Got the Chiefs. You know, the Chiefs, bro. The Chiefs. The team that just got fucking skull drugged in the Super Bowl. But it's the Chiefs. They're still going to do what they do. They're going to beat the Chargers. I think they'll lose to the Ravens. They'll beat the Jags. They'll beat the Raiders. They're going to lose to the Bills in the regular season because that's what they do. They'll lose to them in the regular season, but they'll beat them in the playoffs. They're going to lose to the Broncos coming off of their bye week because the Broncos are going to be a decent team. They're going to beat the Colts. They'll lose to the Texans. They'll lose to the Chargers. And then they're going to close out by winning their next 3 games. 12-5. Yeah, that sounds right for the Chiefs. They're going to be good. They're going to be a good team. They're still going to be the Chiefs. They're just going to lose a few more games than people are used to, kind of like they did a few years ago when they went 11-6. They're going to go 12-5 this year. They're going to lose a couple to a couple teams that they shouldn't, like the Broncos and the Texans, and they're still going to make the playoffs. That's just how it is. We're going to do the Broncos next. Broncos versus Cam Ward's Titans. This should be a solid game because it's 2 young teams, 2 young QBs. Bo Nix should take that next step, but I think Cam Ward's going to try to make a statement in his first game, and he's going to win that first game. But then the Broncos are going to win their next 3 games. They'll beat the Bengals, they'll beat the Chargers, and they'll beat the Colts. They're going to lose to the Eagles, like we said. They'll beat the Jets. They'll beat the Texans. They'll beat the Raiders. They'll lose to the Raiders in their second game. And they're going to lose to the Jaguars, and then they're going to lose to the Chargers. So they're going to lose out on their last 3. They're going to go 11-6. A good team that wins one more game than they did last year type of deal. Like, they're going to be good. That record's going to be a little deceiving, though. I feel like the record 11-6 is going to be for a team that should win 9 games, but they're going to win a couple of games. In close margins, and that's just because Bo Nix takes another step forward. Like, I feel like this is virtually the same team from last year that won 10 games, and I feel like that team should have won 9 games. They didn't get like lucky or anything. It's just they felt like a 9-8 team and they went 10-7. This also feels like a 9-8 team, but I'm gonna have them go 11-6 because I just think that's how that's gonna break down. They're gonna overperform a little bit. Now we got the Chargers. The Chargers, they're going to be a good team. They're going to be a playoff team. They're going to beat the Raiders. They'll lose to the Dolphins. They'll lose to the Colts. They'll beat the Titans. They'll beat the Steelers. They'll beat the Jaguars. They'll beat the Raiders, and they'll beat the Texans. Also 12-5, but losing to the Chiefs the one time, and I'm assuming the Chiefs. Yep, Chiefs have, the way it works is the Chiefs have a better record for common opponents. Chiefs win the division. Chargers go 12-5, same record, but slightly worse. The Raiders, the laughing stock of this division, they'll lose to the Patriots. They'll beat the Colts. I think they'll beat the Titans. They're going to lose to the Jags. They'll lose to the Texans. So 3-13. Where's the game that I missed? Oh, the Browns. Give me the Browns. Get away from my charger. Gotta keep an eye on this cat while I do this too. 3-14. Yep, sounds right for the Raiders. Bad team, has bad record. There we go. AFC East. We got the Bills. Josh Allen just won his first MVP, but they can't do nothing in the playoffs. We'll see if that continues. They're gonna lose to the Ravens to start with, but they'll beat the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Patriots. Just kind of bully their way through, right? They lose their first game, but then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 straight wins. Then boom, lose to the Texans. Boom, lose to the Steelers, and boom, lose to the Bengals. They're losing those 3 games. The Texans are going to pull off a win. Steelers are going to pull off an upset, and the Bengals are going to pull off an upset. They're going to beat the Patriots. Then they're going to beat the Browns. Then, with the division locked up, but they're going to be playing for a the 1 seed, potentially, home field advantage. They're actually going to beat the Jets. They're actually going to play their starters and beat the Jets. They're going to go 13-4. 13-4. I think that's a reasonable record for them. Then we got the Jets, a team that should be improved. They have Justin Fields. They're going to be a okay team. They're going to be solid. They got the Steelers to start with. The Steelers are going to win that game. But they'll beat the Dolphins. I think they'll beat the Dolphins. I think they can, and they'll beat the Bengals. They'll beat the Browns, but they're going to lose to the Patriots, lose to the Ravens, they'll lose to the Dolphins, beat the Jags, and then the Patriots. They'll beat the Patriots that second time. 7-10. I feel like this is an 8-win team, but it's just going to work out in a way where they lose 10 games. Because I don't think Justin Fields is going to be all that. He is a solid quarterback, and he is improving. But with that injury, I think it's going to set him back a little bit. He's not going to make the leaps that people probably think he will. They're going to be a 7-10 team. And then you got the Dolphins. Dolphins, I don't think they're going to be anything crazy. They're going to lose to the Colts. They're going to lose to the Patriots. They'll lose to the Browns. Somehow, someway, they're going to beat the Ravens. They're going to beat the Steelers. They're going to beat the Bengals. And then at the end of the season, they'll beat the Patriots. So they'll get most of their wins here in the last 5 weeks, going 7-10 as well. Slightly better than the Jets. Just based off of, like, conference record, I think. Yeah, conference record. Patriots. They should be a solid team. I forget their quarterback, but he did solid last year. He should make improvements. I think they're going to start 4-0. This is going to feel scary at first. We're going to think the Patriots are back. The Patriots are back. And then they're going to lose 2 straight. They're going to have a solid game against the Titans, but the Titans will pull it out. They'll beat the Browns. They're going to lose to the Bengals, and they're going to lose to the Ravens. They're going to end up going 6-11. They're going to be the team last in the division. They're going to have a good start. But then they're going to fall apart, losing to teams that they probably should. Like, they should have probably, they should probably be the Giants. They probably should be the Bengals. And they should probably be like an 8-win team. It's not going to happen 6-11. Culture needs to mesh. They got a new coach. Next year is honestly when I think they'll take the step forward and finally be a playoff team again since their first season of having Mac Jones. Yeah, their first season. That was like, what, 2020? 2021? Something like that. That's when they'll take that next step. Now we got the AFC North. We got the Ravens. The Ravens, they're competing for that 1 seed. And they're going to start a nice clean 6-0. Then they're going to have their bye week and start 7-0 before they lose to the Dolphins. Then they're going to beat the Vikings, beat the Browns, beat the Bengals. They're going to lose to the Steelers here. Lose to the Bengals here, and then beat this, and then win their next 3 games to go 14-3 and get that 1 seed. That's just what they're going to get, the 1 seed. They're to me, they're clearing away the best team in the AFC right now. Then you got the Steelers, a team that's never had a losing record. They're not going to have a losing record again. They're going to beat the Browns. They're going to beat the Bengals. They're going to lose to the Colts, lose to the Bengals, and beat the Browns. 9-8. They're going to be an average team. They're going to be a team that has a winning record, because that's what Mike Tomlin does. That's what they do. They have a winning record. But again, 9-8. Nothing crazy. Bengals, team that should be better, but they have a Swiss cheese defense. But I do think they'll finally put it together, and they're going to beat the teams that they need to go 10-7 and potentially make the playoffs. We'll see how that shakes out. They're going to go 10-7. They're going to finally win that next game. That puts them right in that spot. And hopefully they stay healthy to do so. Now we have the Browns. They're 3-13. They have 1 more game left. It's the Titans. They're going to lose to the Titans. They're going to be 3-14. They're going to be having another high draft pick. Now, this has actually worked out to the point where if we look at these records here, we already know that the Vikings are going to have the number 1 overall pick. They're going to be the worst team in the NFL. Now we have the AFC South. Probably the worst division in football at the moment, if you ask me. But the Texans are going to be pretty solid, and they're going to beat the Jags. They're going to beat the Titans. They're going to beat the Jags, but then they're going to lose to the Titans. And then they'll beat the Colts both times to go 11-6 and win the division for a 3rd straight year. Titans, they're going to be better than they were last year. They got 6 wins. Will they have a winning record? Probably not. I think they'll beat the Colts in this first game, however. But they're going to lose to the Colts in that second game. They're going to beat the Jags in that first game, but then lose to the Jags in that second game, which puts them at 8-9. Sounds right for them. And then we have the Colts, which this should also finish up the Jags, because they should only have their Jags games. They'll beat the Jags, and where's that first one? They'll beat the Jags. Colts go 9-8, so they're going to be a 9-8 team. They're going to be a solid team, but they're not going to be anything crazy. Same thing with Titans. They're going to be 8-9. Jags are going to go 4-13. I did say I think the Jags are going to be solid. They're going to win against teams they shouldn't. And honestly, I think most of these losses are going to be like one-score games. Like, they're going to be a team where it's like, if certain things went their way, they would have made the playoffs. You know what I mean? But it just doesn't work out that way. So with that, you get your playoff picture. NFC, like we said, Lions, Eagles, Falcons, 49ers, Commanders, Bears, Bucks. AFC, you have the Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, Texans, Chargers, Broncos, and the Bengals. I think the AFC is damn near the exact same, except replace the Bengals with, who the fuck was it? The Steelers. Replace the Bengals with the Steelers, I believe, is what it would have been. And is damn near the exact same outside of, I think, seeding. Whereas the NFC's got some changes to it. So, let's go ahead and predict those playoffs, because I don't even really know who I'm going to have winning the Super Bowl. So, to start the playoffs, we'll have the Bears versus the Falcons. So, Commanders at 49ers. Bears at Falcons. Bucks at Eagles. Then we have the Chargers at the Texans. The Broncos at the Chiefs. And the Bengals at the Bills. So, based off of this, my first instinct is Eagles over the Bucks. They lose from the regular season, they'll beat them in the playoffs. Then my next instinct is Texans over the Chargers. I think the Chargers, they'll be a good team, but the Texans have been winning their home games at during the playoffs as of recent. They should continue that. Chiefs over the Broncos is my next instinct. This one, I'm tempted to say Bengals, but I think the Bills are going to be too complete. The Bills are going to win that game. This one's kind of a toss-up. I'm fairly certain the Bears will beat the Falcons on the road. I think the Bears will move on. This one's kind of a toss-up. I feel like the 49ers could get that win, but I just think the Commanders are they're that good of a team that I feel like it's hard to say that the 49ers can win it. I feel like it's easier to say the Commanders, so I think I'm going to take the Commanders at that. So you got the divisional. You get the Commanders versus the Eagles, which was last year's NFC Championship game. Give me the Eagles. We got Bills versus Chiefs again. I'm picking the Chiefs. I gotta see it to believe it. And then give me the Ravens over the Texans. This one is gonna be This one's gonna be fire. Bears, a much improved team, or Lions. Give me the Lions. I think the Lions can do that. The Bears, much improved. Next year's when they're probably going to make that Super Bowl run, as long as they keep key players and improve the way they need to. So we get the Lions versus the Eagles, and we get the Ravens versus the Chiefs. The Chiefs just aren't going to make 4 Super Bowls in a row. Give me the Ravens. And then, can the Eagles go back-to-back, or will the Lions get it done and go to the Super Bowl? They say third time's a charm. Give me the Lions, and they're going to go to the Super Bowl. We get the Lions versus the Ravens in California, in San Francisco. Who's going to win Super Bowl 60? It's going to be the Ravens. I think Lamar Jackson finally gets his ring. I think the Lions are going to be a solid team. And honestly, before doing this video, I thought the Eagles probably could have gotten back-to-back. But with it being at Detroit, with it being super passionate, they're going to be slightly worse, so people are not going to expect as much from them. So they're going to be a little bit more under the radar again. I think the Lions are going to do what they need to do. They're going to win the game. that they need to get to the Super Bowl and finally make the Super Bowl for the first time, but they are not going to get it done. The Ravens, they're by far the most complete team in the NFL, and I don't see anyone beating them. The one team that could is the Chiefs, and I just don't think the Chiefs are going to make 4 Super Bowls in a row. I just don't see it. I don't see the path. Give me the Ravens. It's basically the Ravens versus everybody, honestly. Like, it's going to be the Ravens. The Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl, and that's how it's going to work out. Draft order, if you want to take a look at it, we got the Vikings, then the Cardinals, then the Browns, then the Raiders, then the Jags, then the Giants, then the Saints, then the Patriots, then the Cowboys, then the Jets. That's your top 10, and then you got the rest. 11 through 30, and then 31, 32. And this is the overall playoff bracket. There you guys go. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My first long form video in a while, and it's over 40 minutes long. You guys are welcome. See you guys in the next one. Peace.